Yesterday, BYU Athletics introducing Brian Santiago as the new athletic director with the massive task of replacing the great Tom Holmoe, who announced his retirement back in February. So today we are going to play for you some of the best sound bites and react to those featured in yesterday's news conference. And then, of course, that includes our interview with Brian himself here in Studio B. In the news conference, Santiago spoke about a lesson he learned from President Henry B. Eyring about the importance of BYU being nationally relevant, but in the right way.
We were privileged to sit in a room with President Henry B. Eyring of the First Presidency. At the time, Elder Eyring came and spoke to us and answered questions. And one of our coaches at the time asked him a very direct question: what's the expectation? And he responded with the word excellence. And this coach, wanting to press more, said, "What does that mean?" And he said, "To be nationally relevant." And then he said this, and this is the key, and this is what the charge that we feel, and this is the charge going forward. He said, to be nationally relevant and do it the right way. Because if we are nationally relevant and we do it the right way, the world will want to know who we are. And we can tell the story through these remarkable student athletes.
The clear theme for Brian Santiago yesterday was to talk about the passion and the dedication that he has for the student athletes primarily. Like, he is fiercely loyal to the student athletes. He's always been that way, though.
It felt like a Bronco question, by the way. That's my guess as to who asked that question. Yeah, excellence is what it needs to be, right? And you need to comport yourself a certain way. But if you don't win, you can't let your light so shine, if you will, and let this be a beacon of goodness that brings people together. Obviously, you want to win, and you want to win the right way, and we come together, and BYU means a lot, but obviously there are things that are bigger than this, and this is bigger than sports, as he mentioned. So great first year, or second year in the Big 12, and last year was amazing. Really high note. Like, typically you don't want to be the guy after the guy, Spence, but someone's got to fill those shoes, and Brian Santiago is tasked with continuing this. Now, he's not an outsider. He has been the number 2 here, so he knows what it took in all facets to get to this place. And so I think he's well equipped with knowledge and experience to know what it took to do that and what it will take to continue that. Certainly, we're in a new era of NIL, transfer portal, revenue sharing is the next big thing, and so on and so forth. He's been in the middle of all these conversations as BYU's navigated this very successfully so far.
Yeah, it's tough to be a guy that replaces Tom Holmoe, but when you have been with Tom for 20 years, and we have seen long-tenured assistants be successful when they eventually take over. Like, I feel like it's more acclimating, or you're more accustomed to hold that level of success if you have been with somebody that's been doing it at a high level for a long time, rather than just like a fresh start. Yeah.
Heather Olmstead took over for Sean Olmstead. She's done a great job.
Yeah. So we have seen that at times and in different sports across the country. Yeah. Obviously, we hope that is the case for Brian. And clearly, the administration and the Board of Trustees believe that in terms of this wave of momentum, that they don't want to disrupt very much, and they feel like he is a guy that brings stability that can continue the momentum.
He must be the guy, because if you interview over 50 candidates and search thousands of miles, and it was actually the guy whose office was next door, you must feel like that's the guy for sure. So they did their due diligence, and they said, hey, Brian's the guy. Let's go. Later in the press conference, Brian Santiago was asked about his vision for BYU in the Big 12, and he said this past year was a glimpse into BYU's future.
All of Cougar Nation got a glimpse of what the vision is for BYU athletics this past season. Kalani Sitake and our football team had a remarkable year. And then everybody saw Kevin Young come in to BYU and do something that nobody expected us to do, and make, our football and basketball programs, they lead the charge. But then you see our men's and women's cross-country teams go win national championships. You see all of our other sports competing at a national level. That's the vision.
Later, he was asked about the role of football, and he said nothing's bigger at BYU than football.
I'll read you the direct quote.
Yeah.
Football drives the ship. There is nothing more important at BYU than our football program. We have an exceptional head coach.
I thought it was landscaping national championships we've been putting up.
That matters too. He continues, this is an exceptional human being, speaking of Coach Atake, an exceptional leader, and the staff that he put around him is exceptional. That is driving the ship.
Yeah, and if that's not obvious, you know, he answered the question. He's got to answer the question, but it's super obvious, right? I guess there are those that maybe have questions relative to Brian's integral part of men's basketball influence and like what influence he's had on football. He's had influence on football. He's not just completely uninvolved in football. He's the deputy athletic director. He's been heavily involved in that, right? But he's been charged with men's hoops primarily, but now he oversees all of it, right?
Yes.
I liked that glimpse. And there is a level to even go up, which I don't think we've imagined at BYU. Oh, I know they won the national championship in 1984, but in the modern era, BYU's not touched like the college football playoff expansion now, which BYU was close last year. They've never been to a Final Four. These are the next steps, and BYU is equipped with teams, coaches, financial backing, athletic administration support from Salt Lake and so on and so forth, to the point that it feels like those could both happen this next year. That's so exciting. And will it take a minute if it doesn't next year? Maybe. But I think you have the right people in place. I really do. I think you have the right coaches at the right time to take that next step for BYU athletics in those two sports.
Brian was integral in bringing in Kevin Young, and he has a great relationship with some high-level coaches. Like, he's very, very involved in that regard. I also appreciated that he answered some tough questions in those breakout groups. Frankly, one of them was, what would you say to people that aren't happy about you being hired? And I thought he took it head on. Like, those are tough questions to answer. And to his credit, I thought he handled it with a lot of dignity and class, because that's not a fun question to answer. Spencer, how do you feel about hosting a show when everybody hates you? You know, or like they don't.
How is it, Spencer?
They don't want you to host a show. They think you're a poser on TV.
No one hates you from fan bases that we respect. And let's be honest. You know, there are those who have questioned the hire. We have talked about on this program what we feel like is reasons for the hire, and Brian proceeds independent of what anyone thinks. He charges forward, and up and Adam, we go forward. Vamos, as he said.
Vamos, Cougs.
Like whatever sort of other conversation there is relative to this, it doesn't matter. He's the athletic director, and we're charging forward. That's the direction we're going. I don't really care to look back. Saul's wife did, I guess, but I don't. Like, let's keep moving forward. Let's go.
No pillars of salt.
No pillars of salt.
Santiago joined us in Studio
Pillars
B
of
after that news conference, and we asked him specifically what it means to him to rep BYU. Here's a portion of that answer.
Focusing not only on, like, the individual, but on the spiritual. Like, you get both. Like, you get both. And that's what's happening. And if we can do all that and, like, instill dreams in the younger generation to wear that Y, to put BYU on our chest, let's go. It means more. And everybody knows why it means more, right? We're invested in something way bigger. And that's what gets me excited. That's what gets my juices flowing, because when we win and do it the right way, it inspires dreams in this next generation, and they want to be part of BYU.
Clearly, it's bigger than just sport. Yeah. We've known this for a long time.
Absolutely.
But I love that he was inclusive of all the sports, too. And he spent a good deal of time in the news conference talking about how important women's sports are.
I liked that because when revenue sharing comes out, a large portion of that at many schools, including BYU, is going to go to football and men's basketball. The fear for me and you, as people who have called the majority of the Olympic sports, is please continue to have all these sports, right? You know, 20-something years ago, a couple sports were cut here, wrestling and men's gymnastics. I appreciated that conversation because it made me confident that, hey, we're going to continue with a lot of these sports that we love. Grand Canyon just killed men's volleyball. I'm not striking up any fear or rumors here. I'm just saying I appreciate that he values the entire athletic department, because this show and this channel and this athletic department and this new AD do too. They appreciate the experience of BYU fans that is more than just football and men's basketball. I think you, Cougar Nation, appreciate and love all these teams, we celebrate men's golf and what they did today from yesterday in an amazing way. We're excited about the direction of women's basketball. We're hoping baseball takes out Texas Tech to get to the Big 12 tournament. It's not just about football and men's basketball. It is much bigger.
That's why we have so much invested into covering the stories outside of the sport in our Deep Blue specials and beyond. For other schools, for crying out loud.
Frankly, we care about other schools.
Yes, that will not change.
Yeah.
Brian centering on that as well.
And I agree with covering all but one school in this league.
I understand your trepidation specifically with Tom leaving as a quote-unquote football guy because he was the football coach and he was a player and a Super Bowl champion multiple times. And Brian comes in, he's a former basketball player. Yeah. But I love that he doubled down and said, no, this is a football school. Football drives the show.
It's almost weird to me that I know he was asked, so he answers the question, but it's almost weird that it needs to be said out loud. It's like, are you serious? Of course football runs the show here. Come on.
Yeah, interesting. Well, at the end of the interview, we gave Brian the floor to share a message to Cougar Nation, and this was that message.
There's never been a better time to be part of Brigham Young University and BYU athletics than right now. In this ever-changing landscape of college athletics, the idea that we can compete at the very highest level and do it the right way is inspiring for all of us. We need you, we need your family, we need your friends, we need everybody to go all in because we're all in. Every single one of us in this athletic department is united in carrying out the mission of this great institution. And while we're doing it, not only are we going to do it with enthusiasm, we're going to find joy in the journey. These are the greatest times of life. It's the greatest time to be alive. And everyone in Cougar Nation, just remember, we were born to win. Let's go.
Let's go. I love it.
Born to win. I thought he handled the camera situation very well. Yeah, seasoned pro, just staring into the hearts of the cold glass eye.
Right? Most of my life, I felt like I was born to lose. So this is breaking news to me, personally. But being associated with BYU, a lot of wins. Yeah, if it's me leading the charge, no, we're going to lose. It's bigger than any individual, which is exciting.